for those who have been martyred for their faith, and they're standing before the Lord, and there's so many, you can't count them. And so where is this mysterious rapture that's going to rapture millions of this entire church age, these people waiting for this rapture before the tribulation period begins? Because they're not raptured. The first fruits rapture is talked about in Revelation chapter 9 or 7. It might be 10. I know it's chapter 7. And then it's chapter 9 or 10. I can't really nail it right now. I think it's chapter 9, though, folks. But it talks about the first fruits rapture. I have articles on this, about the two groups of 144,000. And the first fruits rapture is only 144,000. It's not millions. There's no massive millions disappearance. What is going to happen is Satan is going to try to produce his own fake rapture, where they are going to abduct people off of the face of the earth and call it a rapture. And these people are going to be stored in meat lockers on UFOs to be eaten later, because, like I've been saying for years, these fallen angels, these aliens, eat the flesh of humans. And that's what they do. They store up their bodies and eat them later. They store them up in meat lockers. They hang them up like they're cattle. And they've been feeding off the human race for years, and that's one thing the governments have always kept under complete secrecy, is the fact that what's happening to so many people around the world that have disappeared. You never see them again. This world gets smaller and smaller and smaller as technology increases and the years go on. It's almost impossible to really hide now. And so if there's, in the last 10 years, if there's been millions of people missing, disappeared, how come they haven't found them? Sometimes you'll have a legitimate disappearance where someone takes off in a divorce battle and they take the kids and run. But we're talking about millions over the last 40 years. Where are all these people? And these people are being held, a lot of them, being held in underground bases. They're experiments for our government, for cloning, for hybridization, women being used as breeders, and just outright being eaten by the aliens. Their food. The entire world is victims of these aliens becoming food on their plates. And as disgusting as it sounds, that's just how it is. But they'll claim they're vegetarians. We're vegetarians. Oh, that's because, they eat human meat. They don't eat cattle meat. They don't eat cows or lambs or chickens. They eat humans. So just, folks, keep your eyes open. Some of the stuff in the news about, Yellowstone going off, and perhaps this whole detonation in Nevada is going to set off the place underneath California, where they're going to sacrifice California to try to save Yellowstone from going off, and whatever. I've been reading the news on it, and I have no real thoughts on it. We know there's a famine coming. Part of my mission last week that I went on for the Lord, I was gone for 7 or 8 days, helping to protect our bread baskets in America. And I really had a blast. The Lord's calling up His people just to go out and do things that need done. And all He needs you to do is say, Lord, I'm available, I'm willing. I'm not really available, but I'm willing, but He'll make a way for you to become available. But, it's your circumstances, and just leading people to stand up as warriors and do exploits for Him in the last days. And so that's what I was busy. I talk all the time about tearing down strongholds of the New World Order. And you got to walk the talk, folks, and that's what I do. I just don't sit here on the internet and tell everybody else what to do. I do it myself. I'm the first one out there to tear down these strongholds of Satan and prepare areas as safety zones for the Lord's people to flee to, so that the government's high-tech weapons won't hurt them, or can't reach them, can't destroy them. And so there's whole areas and things that I've been involved in helping prepare in an indirect way safe places for the Lord's people to go. I had literally wanted to build an encampment and put shelter together and store food together and all that, you know, so that people would have a place to flee to, and we'd be able to shelter them and feed them through the hard times that are coming. And that's just not coming about, folks. I just don't have the financial backing to do that. And I do appreciate donations of those that have come in to try to help, but I know that there's millionaires out there that are sitting on lots of money that could step up and really fund something like this at the magnitude we need it, and they're holding on to their money. You know, they're holding on to it, and they're thinking about themselves, and what's going to happen is they're going to lose every dime they have and everything they have out of the Lord's anger. You know, now is the time to prepare. The Lord told us this was a year of preparation, and so many people, you know, when things start to happen, you know, telling me they're ready to go, but they've got nowhere to go. And, you know what I offered? You know, I offered to do that, to help set up a place so that the Lord's people could run to it and be protected and have food and shelter and everything they need, and build storehouses and set them up. But it's just not there. The backing's not there. The help isn't there. The finances aren't there. You know, I've always said people will vote with their feet, and obviously they don't think it's necessary. I know there's millions that listen to these recordings I do and visit my websites throughout the year. Millions of people around the world. And, you know, it's almost a shame to say that some of my biggest supporters are people that are not even from this country. Not even from this country. And you know why that is? It's because so many in this country that have been so bamboozled and following the deceptions of false shepherds. You know, it's the shepherds leading the churches today, not even thinking ahead of filling storehouses, preparing safety zones for the people, safe havens, being willing to hear from the Lord because they're so busy telling the Lord what they're going to do and what they're doing and patting themselves on the back. They can't even hear from Him so He can lead them out of the errors they're in, or maybe they're doing something He doesn't want. You know, maybe He'd rather have some land being bought and food being stored up instead of another $10 million facility being built. He's not in that. You know, you can read the churches, the 7 churches, in Revelations chapter 2 and 3. And the church of Laodicea, the 7th church, and how they're rich and in need of nothing. And where's the Lord? He's standing on the outside of the door. He's not even welcome inside them. But yet they pride themselves with all their arrogance. Look what we've done for you, Lord. We've built this $10 million facility, and we're being broadcast